Happy December 21st, and welcome to MicroStrategy Today, the only daily show that's bringing you MicroStrategy's insights, intel, updates 7 days a week. Today's show is going to be great. We've got Anthony Scaramucci chirping in about MicroStrategy. We have Michael Saylor talking about how Bitcoin could make the US $81 trillion richer. I've got two great videos, one from Kathy Wood and then a classic from Michael Saylor. This is one you're going to want to actually save. It's about a 4-minute clip. And every time you're just like, wow, am I experiencing any doubt at all? You play this video and you're back up to the top, my friends. And by the way, exciting times. We are back. We are back into the right direction. We have a lot of fun things to talk about here today. So thank you for sticking around. As always, this is not financial advice. Consult a financial advisor before making any decisions. And I wanted to start with this image right here because listen, sometimes you just got to wear a hard hat because there's not always going to be great days. Some days are going to be tough. They're going to be difficult. They're going to be challenging. It's going to question your convictions. Even though you have great convictions, I have great convictions, they're going to be challenged on some days. So Michael Saylor posted this tweet. I love it. It's super timely. Wear a hard hat. Just be immune to all the outside FUD, the fear, uncertainty, doubt. Keep watching shows like this. Thank you for those comments, by the way, that this show helps lift you up and inspires you and excites you. And that, we are the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. So let's keep doing that. Let's wear a hard hat. Let's get through this together because it's going to be a great 2025. Let's move over to the MSTR tracker. And man, this individual just keeps stacking the cool on this thing. There are now so many metrics that he just keeps adding that are so valuable. I'm not going to go through them all today. I will in a future video, but we'll just focus on the basics for now. The stock price is at $364. It was a 11.5% increase yesterday, jumping up to 105 out of 500 for the S&P 500. Right now, Bitcoin's around 98,200. It got just under $100,000 over the night, kind of came back down, and we'll see what the day will bring. The Bitcoin value per share is at $177. The NAV's back up over 2, is at 2.056. The unrealized profit loss is $16 billion for a 59% return. These are performance metrics too. This is something new that was just added. Let me actually stretch this out just a little bit here, just to make sure that you can see these performance metrics. I think I need to go a little bit more, but you can see the Bitcoin yields to date. They have 72%. And then the Bitcoin yield quarter to date was 46%. So these are just super cool numbers. They give you the FASB accounting, which is going to be after 1/1/25, so after January 1st, what's going to happen for their earnings per share. I got a pretty exciting announcement. I finally got my father to buy some MicroStrategy. One of his biggest complaints was the earnings per share. He's a very traditional guy. So now I get to show him because of FASB, fair value accounting, that started, by the way, back on December 15th, but is now officially going to be for MicroStrategy on January 1st going forward, that MicroStrategy is going to have insanely amazing earnings per share. That's exciting for you. It's exciting for me. My dad is finally on team MicroStrategy. So congratulations, Dad. You made the right decision. Let's go. Give him some love in the comments, my friends. Let's talk about the catalysts that are coming up. In 2 days, we've got the QQQ inclusion. The first day is actually happening on December 23rd. So that's when it's just going to be official that MicroStrategy has cemented its place in the QQQ. It's official. It's happened, but now it's going to be there loud and proud. We've got some really great things coming up in January and February. We've got the presidential inauguration, which will be interesting to see the different members of the cabinet that come in and what they end up doing. The January Fed meeting, which, we'll see how that goes as always. FTX is going to be distributing over $16.5 billion in repayments to their customers. And listen, those customers, they're going back into crypto. They want to make up for some of this lost time. So let's expect some money flowing this way. We have MicroStrategy Q4 earnings report. Again, this is must-see TV. I will be streaming a watch party for this. It's going to be a lot of fun, so stick around. Let's dive into some news. Question, could Bitcoin make the U.S. 81 trillion richer? Saylor says yes. Critics say no. One of the highlights, Saylor proposes an 81 trillion U.S. Bitcoin opportunity to reduce the national debt. Peter Schiff argues against it, saying it would risk economic instability increased national debts. I'll show you his tweet below, by the way. Saylor predicts Bitcoin's value could skyrocket to $500,000 with a U.S. strategic adoption. Absolutely. That's base case for sure. And then this article just goes through Bitcoin as a national reserve, what Saylor's vision is. It's going to strengthen the dollar. It'll reduce the debt. It'll boost economic growth by unlocking trillions of dollars in value. And guess what, my friends? People are listening. People in power are listening to this. So exciting. Trillions in treasury revenue. They go through exactly what that would look like. And then, of course, the critics push back. I mean, Peter Schiff, I'm just going to leave this up here for a second. This individual, he is coping so hard. He missed everything. He missed Bitcoin a million times. He's missed MicroStrategy hundreds of times. He is coping so hard for all of this miss that he's had. And by the way, he knows that he's becoming irrelevant, that he's actually become irrelevant because of how terrible his advice has been over the past 15 plus years. This is the only way that he can get any engagement. He is completely trolling. He is engagement farming. I actually read his tweets and stuff like this with just some sympathy and some empathy, because this guy is just absolutely putting out there pretty much the opposite of what he believes. Because the reality is, he knows he's not a stupid guy. Like, he understands the reality of what's been happening for the past 15 years, but he also understands the only way that he's going to remain relevant in this world is to post stuff like this. So, listen, let's just have some sympathy and move on. Let's talk about this article right here. MicroStrategy's financial engineering powers ascent into the NASDAQ 100. And then they go through how MicroStrategy's raised almost $20 billion from investors. This is about half of the $42 billion plan they had for 3 years. They've already done it in a couple months, half of it, I should say. And Michael Saylor did just say on a video that I posted in yesterday's, or maybe it was 2 days ago, MicroStrategy Today, that you'll be hearing about their new plans come this February 9th. The Q4 earnings reports, they'll talk with us about their new plan, which is going to be awesome. This article, by the way, is really good. I'm not going to go through it all, but I read it all and I really did enjoy it. So I'll post it for anybody that might want to read this article in its entirety, because it has a lot of interesting things. Some people talking, like different bond holders and bond investors, talking about how MicroStrategy is just breaking the system in a good way, and how it's been right here. This was an absolute home run for us. And this is one of the convertible bond fund managers who owns MicroStrategy bonds. There is no better outcome for a convertible bond manager. And Michael Saylor has said that in Q1, specifically probably January, he's going to start going heavy on some more convertible notes. Good thing for us, shareholders, great thing for MicroStrategy, great thing for Bitcoin, and the flywheel continues, my friends. So again, excuse me, this is a great article, a lot of interesting things, and I'll leave the link in the show notes. Wanted to share this article right here. Concerns over MicroStrategy's Bitcoin strategy are overstated. This is Anthony Scaramucci talking. This is an individual that's, really has a big voice in this world, and he's coming down and he's saying that fears of collapse due to Bitcoin's potential downturn are overstated. So just more and more people are just coming around to the reality. I mean, I even had dinner last night with some friends, and one individual was like, yeah, but I just heard that if Bitcoin touches 16,000, that MicroStrategy gets liquidated. And this is an intelligent individual, but he had just read one headline and that's what he thought. So I just calmly explained to him, listen, all of MicroStrategy's Bitcoin is unencumbered. They can never be liquidated. Now, if Bitcoin goes down to 16,000 for multiple years and stays there for multiple years, then of course, there's a lot of people in this world that are going to be having problems, MicroStrategy included, and they're going to have to figure things out. And I trust that Michael Saylor can figure things out. I wanted to share this tweet. I wanted to start with this because I just love this guy, Stack Hodler. Just such a good perspective. He talks a lot about Bitcoin. Sometimes he does mention MicroStrategy, but it's just his perspective I do love. And he wrote, it's going to be fun going back to previous cycles and seeing the same sentiments play out. A proper dip needs to convince people that we may really have topped. There needs to be reasons that plant real doubt in your mind. The Fed is unexpectedly hawkish. What if Elon really cuts all spending? What if a 15-year parabolic chart was right? What if blah, blah, blah? You'll always find stories to justify the price action. Last week, everyone was convinced we were on the brink of full nation state reserve adoption. Now people are starting to think it's over. Just zoom out and chill. Wake up over We're up over 100% this year after the greatest ETF launch of all time. BlackRock is going full on into this because they're drooling at the opportunity of skimming fees off of a $100 trillion asset. You think they're going to let this crash now? The incoming president is actively saying they're going to be doing great things with Bitcoin. His own son is calling for $1 million Bitcoin. It's time to pour yourself an eggnog, switch to the yearly chart view, and enjoy the holidays. You've already won massively this year. My friends, you have already won massively this year. I don't care where your position is. Just the fact that you have a position, even if it's a little bit underwater right now, you have won massively this year by taking a position that in a year, in 3 years, and 5 years is going to be the envy of everybody that knows you, in my opinion. So congratulations on that. I want to talk about Punter Jeff's tweet. He said, MicroStrategy is now the ranked 103rd largest company by market cap. It jumped 16 companies. Life is good. And he just kind of gave a screenshot of this here. The next tweet from Mike Alfred, MicroStrategy's inclusion into the QQQ and becoming a recipient of the same unthinking index flows that all big tech stocks get is incredibly bullish for Bitcoin. MicroStrategy is the only QQQ constituent that will use those flows to cannibalize the fiat system from the inside out. And this is very exciting. I was actually talking to some friends yesterday, and they were talking about index funds, and I'm like, oh, so what do you think about your Bitcoin exposure? They're like, no, we don't have any Bitcoin exposure. I'm like, well, you were just talking about the NASDAQ 100. MicroStrategy, which is a leveraged Bitcoin play, is in the NASDAQ 100. They were like, oh, interesting. And honestly, I think they were happy about it because who wouldn't be? MicroStrategy updates. Don't call it a comeback. Let's go LL. Maybe a little LL GIF here would be good. And we just see, the dip. I think I bought right around here is where I think I bought. And then it continued to go down. I was like, oh, okay. But then it was just like, okay, you're right again. Buy the dip, my friends. Jeff Walton says, MicroStrategy is the only company in the QQQ with a corporate treasury that trades 24/7, 365, and it's globally liquid. This is the reason their trading volume is so high. EPS can be forecasted and calculated in real time without having to wait for asymmetric information earnings calls. That's earnings per share. Really exciting stuff, my friends. I mean, this is what happens when a company like MicroStrategy goes into the QQQ. Now it becomes, again, because it's a Bitcoin leverage play, 24/7, 365, globally liquid. Amazing. I wanted to share this. I'm not going to go too in depth through this, but I will, again, have this linked up in the show notes below because I really do recommend it. This was just posted by Bitcoin Magazine. Just in, Michael Saylor publishes a Bitcoin and crypto framework so the United States can lead the global digital economy. And this is just so much gold in these 4 pages. And I'll just kind of do one here, the second one here, if you want to pause and read it. But again, I'm going to go ahead and post this link in the show notes. So you can just check it out on your own. Actually, it's only 3 pages. It's really good. These 5 points, read through them, enjoy them. It's Michael Saylor's gift to the world, in my opinion. And speaking of, let's go back to the hard hat because I just love this. Speaking of Michael Saylor's gift to the world, I have a gift for you, which is Kathy Wood sharing some really great things, in my opinion, on a video that I'm about to play for you. And then that 4-minute Michael Saylor clip that I'm going to also play that I highly recommend. Just bookmark that and save it for a future time when you just might need it again. I mean, we always need these words because why not have the positivity surround us? So enjoy the videos.
Do you still sort of see Bitcoin really hitting some of those lofty milestones that you've talked about before? 100,000 is still a long way from 1 million. I do kind of wonder how much further you think this could actually go.
Well, what's interesting about Bitcoin today, now that we're going to get more regulatory green lights, we're seeing institutional investors focus on this new asset class. And as they're learning about it, they're saying, wait a minute, this new asset class, or this component of a new asset class, Bitcoin, is going to reach 21 million units out there, 21 million Bitcoin out there at its peak, and no more from there on. Where are we now? We're already above 19.5 million units. And so if institutional investors are looking at this new asset class more seriously. And Bitcoin is really the first of its kind in a new asset class and will be, we believe, the biggest opportunity of them all.
Yeah.
They must consider an allocation. And so supply demand, they're doing the arithmetic,
Yeah.
and we see 1 million to 1.5 million by 2030. That the probability of that has increased because of institutional.
You know, Scott, when in 2020, I was very frustrated and a bit depressed. I don't think I was alone. A lot of people were frustrated and depressed during that time period. And I was, you know, my company was worth $600 million enterprise value, and I'd worked 30 years, and I could not break through against the Microsoft, juggernaut, and I couldn't figure out how to grow it. And after 10 years of trying, I figured maybe I should just retire and go gracefully off and just and call it a day. And I think as I said, I discovered Bitcoin out of frustration and desperation. And first it was just something to do. And then I realized it was a good technology. I went from I'll buy it because I don't have a choice to do anything else to I'm an investor. And I started thinking Bitcoin is like Facebook for money, or it's like a dominant digital monetary network. And I started becoming a tech believer in it. But then I emerged as a maximalist, Scott, which is, you wrote your book about the four. And at the end of the book, you basically are a little bit jaded. You're like, these guys got too much power and they abuse their power, and the world's not a better place for that. That's because they're companies. And if Bitcoin was a company, if it was a big digital banking network, it probably also gets corrupted. What I realized is Bitcoin is a decentralized protocol. It's a commodity. It's ethically superior to a company. It's ethically superior to these big tech companies because it represents a protocol of economic empowerment for 8 billion people and everybody on earth, regardless of your views. And so I basically went from opportunist to investor to maximalist. And now I'm of the opinion that the human race moves forward through clean energy, clean food, clean money. And human misery was our water was dirty, our food was dirty, we didn't have energy, we had dirty clothes, we had doctors with dirty hands and dirty instruments and the like, and we had dirty money. And for the last 500,000 years, all of our economics have been broken, and their human misery has taken place because copper tokens and giant stone coins and glass beads and silver coins and gold, none of these things were perfect capital assets. They were never a settlement network, and they were never a non-deflationary asset. Bitcoin represents clean money. It represents economic energy and economic empowerment. So my mission at this point is I would just like to spread it to 8 billion people. I actually think Bitcoin is hope. I think you can fix a company, fix a country, fix a family. It won't solve the other problems. It doesn't cure cancer, and it doesn't make you a good basketball player, and it doesn't resolve political differences and religious differences. I get that. What it does is it gives people a working economic fluid that doesn't drain 10% of their economic energy per year out the back door. And so I'm a big advocate for digital capital in the same way that 150 years ago, maybe I could get really excited about spreading electricity to the world. But if you found fire, you would want people to know about fire. And Henry Ford, as I said, he put the fire in an engine and he gave us wings. He let us fly, and so the world's a better place with the automobile or the plane or aluminum or steel or computers or AI or whatever it is. I just think the world's a better place with digital capital or clean store of value money. You could say it's a fair and equitable way for us to settle our differences. And there's something nice about that.
Well, there you have it, my friends. Another episode of MicroStrategy Today. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. We got father on board, so he is a MicroStrategy teammate right now. So go, Dad. Excited for you. But remember, this is not financial advice. Consult your financial advisor before making any financial decisions. I'm just happy to be able to deliver another episode to you. Christmas is coming up. I've got an episode coming for you on Christmas Day. I've got one coming for you on January 1st. And they're going to both be great episodes. I am hoping and expecting. So I hope you enjoy that and appreciate that. So I love the subscribers. I love the comments. We have great conversations in the comment section. So let's keep that going. I see the likes. I appreciate the likes. So even a like, if you only have a second, is super meaningful. And again, supporting the channel would be supporting our sponsor, NordVPN. Protect your online identity. Protect your family's online identity for a few bucks a month. They have a great holiday special right now. My affiliate link is right in the show notes below. So if you want to support the channel, support my sponsor. And remember, like Michael Saylor said, there is no second best.